welcome in. This is Quality Start, RotoFanatic.com's daily update about fantasy baseball, Major League Baseball, guys doing amazing things. I don't know, nothing cool happened last night, so it's kind of feel, disenchanted. Psych! What a night of baseball. We had walk-off grand slams in Oakland. We had Shane Bieber doing it again. How does he do it? It's amazing. German Marquez did it. He got a win. He pitched 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, and he did it at Coors Field. Did you hear what I said? Coors Field. I repeat, this is not a drill. German Marquez had an outstanding start at Coors Field. Wow. We had closers doing all kinds of crazy things, good things, bad things, and then guys you hardly ever heard of getting saves. So there's certainly something to talk about in the closers who get coffee section of today's show. We'll talk about Gogos Guys and so much more this day in fantasy history. It's all coming up next right here on RotoFanatic.com's Quality Start for August 5th, 2020.
King of the North!
Sometimes it can be difficult for me to choose the King of the North. However, anointing today's chosen one was the easiest call I have had to make so far. The honor goes to German Marquez at Coors Field. This is so unique. Last season was ruined for Marquez by Coors Field. In fact, most people would never start him when he was at home. They would only start him on the road. But after 2 great road starts, he comes home to the friendly confines of Coors Field and pitches lights out. His stuff was rock solid, the velocity's looking great, and the slider is as deadly as it has been. This is an extremely positive developing situation, so stay tuned. And if you have him, lock him down and don't get rid of him by any means.
1-2 again. It's a little dribbler. Left side. Here comes Kyle Seager. Transfer over to first. Not in time. First big league hit for Joe Adell. It's an infield knock.
Joe Adell is in the house. He went 1 for 4 with that infield single being his lone hit. He batted 7th, and it looks like playing time will not be a problem going forward. Another young gun who took care of business. Look at Dustin May, swing and a miss. Dustin got his win, his first one of the season, and he looked good doing it. And then the man who many thought might not be able to live up to the hype of his first start did it again. Christian Javier got the W. Quite impressive. He didn't have the strikeout totals of his first start with just 2, but he only gave up 4 hits, 1 earned, and 1 walk in 6 innings. This kid is very promising.
He loves it. He loves it.
But that's not what I'm gonna do.
More teammates left their fellow players in the lurch again yesterday. Wilson Ramos and Altuve topped the leaderboard for today. And similar to last night, there was another team that could have scored even more runs than they already did, and that would be the Astros. Bad news for the Chicago White Sox is on this base hit by Luis Robert, here comes Avisail Garcia coming up throwing, and he got him. But that's Nick Madrigal, who's holding his arm, and it's not his wrist that's a problem. It ends up being his shoulder. We don't know the extent of the damage this time, but it is a bummer because Madrigal was going to be playing every day since the White Sox already lost Tim Anderson.
Back to life, back to reality.
2 top 30 fantasy players are back. Austin Meadows and Juan Soto are now available. Soto had to wait out the local health department guidelines, so he should play Wednesday. And Austin Meadows is clear, free, and running well. And now it's time for Gogos Guys! Gogos Guys are underrepresented players. They provide value, but they're not necessarily always in the spotlight. But that doesn't matter because you don't want a spotlight. You want results, and that's what Gogos Guys are all about. So I picked out a few fellas here that I think will help your team right now. And if you don't have them, you could trade for them or put in a fob bid or go to your waiver wire or however the hell your league works. Just do it. These are the guys that will make a difference. And by the way, someday there will be gals too. There will be a woman someday, Major League Baseball. She will make her debut and she will be a badass. And on that day, I'm going to do a show and I'm going to do a segment that's called Gogos Guys. That'll happen someday.
Last night, Aaron Bummer pitched an inning and got 2 strikeouts. He has 2 holds now, and it's only a matter of time before he gets the call as the closer, even though Alex Colomé has been great.
I'm so excited to find out when Aaron Bummer finally takes that closer's role from Alex Colomé. Not that Colomé deserves to lose the job, but the White Sox didn't sign Bummer to a 5-year, $16 million deal for nothing.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa had 2 singles yesterday. One was hit 92 miles an hour. Look at that great stop by Simeon, but he still beat it out. That's impressive. And the other one was at 105 mph.
Kiner-Falefa is unique because he has that C. He's got that catcher designation, even though he plays third base regularly. So he gives you steals at catcher. That's huge. He's going to hit for a decent average. He doesn't have a lot of power, but if you can get steals in a good average catcher position, which is always a mess, then I think that's probably why Kiner-Falefa is one of Gogos Guys.
Brandon Lau, not Lowe. Lau is a stud. He kills right-handed pitching. He struggles a little bit against lefties, but when he's in the lineup, he hits second, and last night he went 2 for 4, had a ribby and a run, and he hit the ball really hard. That's what this guy does. He hit one ball 108 miles per hour off Nathan Eovaldi.
Brandon Lau is a guy that will constantly provide value for you. This is another similar situation to Ben Gamel. Brandon Lau destroys right-handed pitching, but he's not so good against lefties, and he will sit quite frequently. Because we all know the Rays love to platoon. They love the righty-lefties. They love the guys who have the better matchups. They will play the matchups probably more than almost any team I can think of in Major League Baseball.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
I don't know how much longer we can call Craig Kimbrell a closer. He struggled again last night, giving up 2 more earned runs and just looking completely not like himself or the one that we used to know and became accustomed to in Atlanta and Boston. Rowan Wick is now the guy who could take the job from him and run with it. This is Trevor Rosenthal, and that is a long shot to deep left center field by Wilson Contreras. This was a non-save situation, mind you, but still, Rosenthal, very shaky, and if you're counting on him for your main bulk of saves, you could be in trouble. Edinson Volquez gave up a lot of runs yesterday. He didn't give up all of them, but he gave up 3, and he was responsible for most of the runners on base when this happened right here. The towering blast by Stephen Piscotty over the center field wall. I would avoid Volquez at all costs. There's good news in Tampa Bay, though, as Nick Anderson. Look at that. Called strike 3 with the bases loaded on Benintendi. He did not give up a grand slam. He got the strikeout, and he got his first save of 2020. The Oliver Drake experiment may finally be over. And last night, Anaheim finally found solace. Ty Buttrey got the save. That's right. Anaheim has blown 4 saves already as a team, so this was welcome news. If he's a free agent, you should go grab him right away, because I don't see Hanzo Robles being used as a closer anytime soon.
Baseball stuff!
Baseball stuff!
We got top-notch action for Wednesday. Here's our very own RotoFanatic.com's writer, Dave Funnell, talking about what he's looking forward to today.
I'm excited for a couple games today. The first game I'm excited for is the Reds at the Indians. I can't wait to see how Nick Castellanos handles Mike Clevenger and vice versa. Castellanos loves to mash the fastballs, and he's been doing it all season. but Clevenger is one of the best pitchers in the game. So I want to see how each handles each other. Maybe they'll stay away from the fastball, or maybe Clevenger will pound the fastball in there and see what happens.
Thanks, Davey. Now let's hear from our very own Paul Mamino, expert on data visualizations, as he discusses Lance McCullers, who is starting today.
The guy that I'm going to be watching tomorrow is Lance McCullers. He's had a up and down, kind of uneven start to his season so far, but that's kind of to be expected after missing a whole year and then obviously whatever's been happening the first couple months of this season. The big thing that a lot of people have noticed with him so far is that he's been using his changeup more. He's increased his changeup usage from just about 10% to almost 15% now. But looking at how he uses the pitch and when he uses the pitch, he's not really using it in 2-strike counts, even though the whiff numbers on it are pretty impressive thus far. If you look at the usage chart, he is not using it in 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts. He's kind of using it in every other count. The big thing that he's done with it thus far, though, is he has located it well down, and he's kind of been able to miss locations where hitters can do a lot of damage on the pitch. So he's been locating the pitch really well, and thus far it's been translating to a lot of swings and misses, but I don't necessarily think that's going to continue. But what you can see when you look at how he attacks hitters in 2-strike counts is he is still heavily using his breaking ball, and that's the pitch that really is going to be the key to success for him. His curveball is absolutely nasty, dating back to that postseason appearance against the Yankees where he threw 20 in a row or something like that. But he's still using the curveball heavily in those plus counts, and it's still to be seen if it's leading to success. But one of the things that you can see is that he does an unbelievable job of locating that pitch when he does get it in 2-strike counts. So the key for him is going to be getting to those counts where he can use that breaking ball effectively, and maybe the changeup and the increased usage of the changeup is going to allow him to get there a little more frequently.
And now it's time for This Day in Fantasy History. I love this part of the show. It's my favorite segment because we get to talk about guys who made a contribution to the game, and we take a moment, give a little gratitude to them. Good for you. Thanks for playing this game. Thanks for entertaining us. I know it wasn't always easy. Boy, struggling in baseball can be about as mentally taxing as any sport there is. So I'm proud to present This Day in Fantasy History, featuring a couple of fellas who did some pretty unique things. Vladdy Guerrero, not the current one, the previous one, the one who started the entire Guerrero legacy, is featured in today's This Day in Fantasy History. Let's take a look at it. On this date in 2006, there was 4 walks given to Vladimir Guerrero by the Rangers. 3 of them were intentional. So if you played in an OBP league or a points league, you probably were loving every minute of it. If you owned Vladimir Guerrero in 2006. In 2005, the legend, only next to Barry Bonds. This was the guy back in the aughts. Albert Pujols became the first player to connect for 30 bombs in each of his first 5 seasons. The Cardinals' first baseman had hit 190 home runs during the 5-year span from the start of his career in 2001. And in closing, the Cleveland Indians on this date in 2001 came back from a 14-2 deficit to win 15-14. The Tribe joined the 1911 Tigers and the 25 Athletics to become the 3rd team in MLB history to have won after being down by a dozen runs. If you had any of the Indians, you probably had a great fantasy day to go along with a classic story of perseverance.